become so big because, like the amount of memory for the song cost close to $1 million. Why would you imagine iPods way back then and the life that we got into? It was going to happen because of something called Moore's Law, but you never know how far Moore's Law can go. So we realized we were going to be a big successful company, but not how far the world would change yet.
We love this story of two young guys changing the world. Steve Jobs, your buddy, will always be remembered as a brilliant man, but he was also known to be complicated. What was the dynamic like between yourself and Steve?
Well, I knew three Steve Jobses. I knew him for 5 years before we started Apple, and those are some of my favorite memories. Kids playing pranks, running around, driving each other to college and all of that, and sharing jokes and pranks and going to concerts together. The day I met him, I introduced him to all my Bob Dylan albums. He was only 16 years old and didn't have albums. And, we talked about, meanings in life and stuff like that. Then there was, when we started Apple, Steve's personality was settling down. The personality settles down around age 18 to 23, and this was settling, and this was his chance to be someone important, have an academic background or job background to really necessarily get there, but he wanted to be somebody important. And here we had a company with a product that would get money, big money, and he was a founder, so he became Steve Jobs 1, but he tried to be so much showing that he was the heart and soul and brain of everything going on, and he kept that up, treated other people very rudely, like they weren't important and they couldn't, and only he had to have final decisions. So there was the plus, the yin and the yang of Steve Jobs. The greatness, though, he just really had the vision and products and thought things out and knew how they would go and had a good sense of, feet on the ground, what would work, what wouldn't, and developed incredible marketing skills when our funder, Mike Markula, who was, believed marketing, we had a marketing-driven company, and Mike taught us how to run a company. Who do you hire to set up a company? He was the adult, and Steve and I were the kids learning before Steve picked it up, and I'm so thankful for that because he had such great ideas that led to such great products, but he had the motivation to keep going. There was more to do, more to create, and there was more to move the world forward on. He didn't just say, "Oh, we got what we got now, let's rest and earn some money for a while." Never did that.
Yeah, speaking of products, today you're hard pressed not to find someone with an Apple product in their pocket or in their home. But what about you personally? Do you keep up to date with all the latest gadgets?
You know what? I'm an experimenter, and I always kept up to date with the gadgets. There are way too many now, digits of all the time to keep up with like I used to. But I have some non-Apple smartphones that I use to understand how they work and what some of their differences are and advantages. But I mostly am an Apple person, from the computer to the phone to the watch. And I try to look at what are the newest apps and things to get into. But then I skip a lot because there's way too much for everybody to get into. I mean, to be on 50 social networks, you don't even have the time. So I'd say if I look back 20 and 30 years ago, yes, oh my gosh, I had every program you could possibly get and people familiar with it to teach others about it, but not as much today. But I definitely use it, think about it, I watch technology to have my own opinion as to what is good and what isn't.
Okay. Now, you're one of the very few people to be immortalized in films, played by Seth Rogen, no less. How much of a say did you have in the casting of the movie?
I was involved with the producers, but I didn't really have anything to do with the casting. It's more like I heard about the casting from people who know how to do casting well, and it's cool that they picked Seth Rogen. My wife and I got to meet Seth and his wife and do things with them and enjoy them as people. But also a very talented person, Josh Gad, had played me in the movie Jobs. And before that, way back, there was one called Pirates of Silicon Valley, and it was Joey Slotkin. And so I actually got to know them all a little bit. And Seth was great. I mean, we'd go down to the Magic Castle and watch magic with him, and I went to a charity event his wife put on for Alzheimer's and helped auction stuff off. So
Yeah, he's a very funny guy. Now, today you're helping the next generation of tech engineers and developers get into the biz. So you're going to tell us about Woz U.
Well, Woz U combines my longtime this motivation for technology and for education. When I was in sixth grade, I told my father I was going to be an electrical engineer, like he was. I knew I really had the talents too. But I was also going to be a fifth grade teacher. I believed in elementary, young Their learning experiences are what make their life and make them successful. And I kept that little goal in my heart throughout my entire education and college and university. And finally, with my own kids, I was a school mom, you might say, I finally just started teaching voluntarily. How can you use a computer when no kids have computers? How can you use a computer to do a better job in school to all your school subjects? Not how to be a computer geek like myself. And it became very important to me. I did that for 8 years of my life, and my course was 200 hours per year, and I would have multiple classes on different days. I got up to 7 days a week. I put an incredible amount of energy into it, and I didn't allow the press though. I just didn't want press near children.
Yeah.
Okay.
WazU,
Ironically,
okay, now WazU is new. WazU does have a thing called WazEd, which is K-12, and we have WazU for university type education. Basically, it's coding education, coding camp. It even existed before I joined on. Then when I joined on, there was a lot of my ideas about how education could be done better and how the students should be left to their own desires and all that.
ironically, my Apple Watch is telling me that we're out of time for the interview. So, but as we say goodbye, we've got to give a big shout out to your Aussie connection. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, yes, my son, he's living here now. He got a programming job here, but he lived for 5 years, has his Australian citizenship, and there it is. And really proud of him. And I also had lifetime residency for my family, and because I've always wanted to move to Australia. I don't know, I just like the personality of people. People what makes the difference, and didn't quite have achieve that yet because I got into the speaking circuit and you have to fly all the time, all over the world.
Yes. Yeah, we're a long way from anywhere, aren't we, Waz? Really? Oh, bye. He's gone old school with his salutation.
I thought probably Zoom calls.
It's decidedly low tech there, Steve.
That's the reason. It's more of your humor.
Yeah, that's good. We could go to the fax machine. Hey, great to talk to you this morning. Really appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Oh, what a wonderful chat.
Great. His wife's terrific. His wife's terrific.
Yeah. Ladies out for you here on the morning show. 3 Father's Day makeovers you've got to see to believe.
With me this morning is the fabulous Penny.